Okay, so good morning and welcome to the second week of summer school. I just wanted to say that you guys are all doing really well. There's nobody who has grades of any concern, um, which is super awesome. So before we start today, I'm just asking you to go on the LMS. I put a survey up on the news feed, so your homepage, just to see how things are going, how you're finding the course, how you're finding the videos, if I'm going too quick, if I'm going too slow, and so on. So if you could just answer that, it would be super helpful. I'm open to feedback. This is all for you. And so I understand that virtual could be a little difficult at times. However, I'm here to make it as easy as I can for you. So we are gonna share this screen. There's a lot more typing than writing today, so be prepared for sentences and whatnot. Okay, so population versus sample. So data are any collection of numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type it out as in capital letters. Data are any collection of numbers, characters, images, or other items that provide information about something. The entire group of individuals that we want information about is called the population. So you would have heard this term already. In the course, we've talked about when their sample population is too small. A census is an attempt to gather information about every individual member of the population. Problems with census are the cost, time needed to complete. Sometimes testing can destroy items. Okay, so this is asking like, what's your income, what's your age, a whole bunch of stuff. So when you're asking a lot of questions like that, it takes a lot of time and a lot of money, right? Versus a sample of a population, which is to ask exactly the questions that you need. I just need to pause this real quick. My dog needs to go out. Okay, so I'm back. So note that it usually isn't practical to collect data from the entire population. Instead, you want a representative sample and study it. Okay, so like I was saying with your census, you're not asking the right questions. A lot of times it's just your age, what year were you born, your income, your gender, etc. Whereas a sample is, we need 100 women with 3 kids who have an income of 50,000. So that's very specific. And so it saves you a lot of time because you're really getting what you need. So we're going to look at some examples. So determine the population of each of the following questions. So whom you will plan to vote for in the next election. So that needs to be all legal voters in Ontario. You don't want voters that are in a different province. You don't want them to be below 18, as that's not the voting age. Okay, I'm back again. Last time. Okay, so what is your favorite brand of hockey stick? So you're not gonna go and ask somebody who golfs all the time, obviously. So you want all hockey players. Do women prefer to wear ordinary glasses or contact lenses? So you would want all women who wear glasses and contact lenses. So once you have identified the population, you need to decide how you will obtain your data. If the population is small, it may be possible to survey the entire census or the entire group, but for large populations, you're gonna need appropriate sampling techniques. So for example, for your independent study unit, you can't make a large population, right? We've got your other classmates and 2 other math classes, so that limits you to about 20 to 25 people. So you can't really be picky, so you're going to use the entire group. Okay, so we're going to discuss different types of sampling techniques in the other lesson for today. But we've got types of studies. So we've got cross-sectional, which is a study that considers individuals from different groups at the same time. So specific time range and range of people. Okay. So that is, for example, you want different groups. So, you could do like different religions, for example, but it's all at a specific time. So for the month of July, we're going to study different religions. So that's cross-sectional. We've got longitudinal. I laugh at my inability to speak sometimes. So a study that considers individuals over a long period of time. Okay, so it's an extended period of time with a small group. So that the best example I could think of right now would be like a sleep study. So you go in for an extended period of time. They're not going to have, like 300 people that are going to be sleeping. And so that would be the best example that I could think of right now. So we have our example. So for the thesis question, how do the opinions about the cafeteria change among students from grade 9 to 12? So how could you conduct a cross-sectional study? So you would ask students from each grade. So remember, cross-sectional is different groups. So we've got different grades at the same time. Okay. Wow. Cafeteria. How could you conduct a longitudinal study? So that is over an extended period of time, the same type of group. So you could interview a selection of grade 9 students and then return to ask them again each year. So you see how that takes a lot more time to do. And so the idea is that you're getting the same opinion, you're having the same interview with the same people, but it's over, 4 years. Which study would be more time efficient? Obviously the first one. Cross-sectional study would be more practical. Okay. Rewrite the thesis question to reflect a cross-sectional study. So you would say, how do the opinions about the cafeteria among a random sample of students in grades 9 and 12 differ? Okay, so that's making it more specific. So it's saying that it's a random sample, and how does it differ between grade 9 and grade 12? So next we're gonna look at the different types of variables. So I'm gonna scroll through this. Okay, so when you've got numerical, that's quantitative data. So that means that you can make averages. It's literally numbers. So you could say like, what are your grades for each of your courses? On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think about French fries? So it's things that you can attribute a number to. Okay, so to find an average, these variables can either be continuous or discrete. So we have seen this in past lessons. And then we have qualitative variable. So that is when we can have several categories or groups or categories. So, you know, that would be like, what is your favorite restaurant to go to? So you could have like sushi, a steakhouse, so on. So those are categories. That are naturally ordered. So ordinal, as we had mentioned, and have no natural order. So nominal. Wow. Okay. Learning how to type. Okay, so having a natural order would be, for example, I'm just trying to think. I can't think of any right now. Whereas nominal would have no order. So identify whether each of the following questions measures a qualitative or quantitative variable. So how tall are you? That's a number. So that's quantitative. What conference are the Leafs in? So that's not a number, that's a word. What color is your hair? Again, words, not numbers. How many students are in the class? My cat has the zoomies. Apparently the animals are just wacky today. And what is your favorite subject in school? So those are words, categories, so it's qualitative. Okay. So we have types of quantitative variables. So we have continuous, which is the category that has an infinite number of values. Okay, so that would be like speed, temperature, height, weight. Right, we've got different numbers all over the spectrum, whereas discrete has a specific number that it ends at. You know, you're not going to have 1,000 dogs, or you can't have 1,000% in your math class, right? So it's got a finite number of values within a given range, usually measured with integer values only. Okay, so number of dogs, number of goals scored, or number of siblings. So classify each as continuous or discrete. So we said that temperature can vary throughout an infinite number. So we have continuous. Number of goals scored by Crosby would be discrete, as it has a finite amount. He can't be scoring like 1,000. Number of songs on your iPad or iPod. So that would be discrete. And then the speed of the slap shot would be continuous. And that is all for this lesson. So the next lesson, we're looking at sampling principles. And And that really is it today. You don't have a quiz or an assignment, so it is a pretty short day. So if you need to catch up on anything, this is your day. Do it, get it in to me, please. I will be contacting people today that haven't been answering or submitting work. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this. And we're done.